Hey everyone, this is James with Yoreevo's October Manhattan Market Update. And if you remember last month, we had a pretty good increase in year-over-year contract activity. We're up about 15%, but there were some differences in seasonality year over year. There's a little bit of an apples and oranges comparison. So we weren't getting too carried away with it. We had been forecasting a decline in October, but to our surprise, we actually saw a 4% increase in contract activity in October. That was primarily driven by a very strong back half of the month. So on this chart, you can see contract activity by week, and you can see last week we hit the highs for the year, and the week prior to that was also very strong. Now I'm recording this on November 4th, and we're right smack in the middle of the week, and you can see week to date we've had a pretty good total, and we're on pace for another good week. So this would be encouraging in any environment, but it's particularly encouraging because we had the election yesterday. And I was reminded of a chart that Jonathan Miller put together a little while ago, which is over here, where you can see he looked at the contract activity in federal election years, which are the even years where you have presidential and congressional elections, and then compare that to odd years. And you can see leading up to the election, you have a decline in contract activity because there's a lot of uncertainty. People want to wait. They want to see how things settle before they make a very big purchase. And then once you have the election, that pent-up demand is released. You have an increase after the election, and that follows through into the spring as well. And this is the case regardless of which party wins. So it's really just uncertainty. People don't like making big decisions among so much uncertainty, so they wait. So seeing so much contract activity, not just in the months before an election, but the days and weeks ahead of an election, is very encouraging, and we'll see if we can keep this up, but this is the first really positive sign that we've seen since COVID started, really. And I won't get too in the weeds with the charts here, but we'll include a link to the slides in the description, so if you want to look at the differences by price point and whatnot, it's all there for you as usual. And so the other thing that we had been paying close attention to was listing inventory. And we did see an increase in October, but you can see it was a pretty small increase and probably the smallest since May here. And there are signs that it's starting to plateau. There's just a lot of listings out there, and there just aren't that many more to actually come on the market. So we're going to need to see this come down, certainly before we can see any price appreciation. I hesitate to say anything about price stability because I'd say prices are kind of doing what they were doing before. The more commoditized the product you're trying to sell, the worse the pricing is. If it's a unique, desirable property in a good neighborhood, it's still selling fine, probably minimal, if any, discount. But across the board, generally, you're going to need to see lower inventory, resulting in fewer choices for buyers to increase urgency before they're going to start increasing their bids. So those are the two things we're looking at. Here's the inventory by price point, but again, I wouldn't get too carried away in the details. Pricing, same thing. We have all the charts here, but this is all preliminary data based on very small sample sizes, and I wouldn't really pay much attention to this at all. So just to wrap up, the two things that we really took away from October: very strong back half, continuing into November so far, and inventory is starting to plateau. Obviously, if that contract activity can continue, that will absorb inventory and pull listing inventory down. But those are the two things we're watching: how many units are going into contract and how many units are being put onto the market. So if you have any questions about the market, neighborhoods, whatever, as always, you can find us at info@yoreevo.com. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next month.